forced to surrender. We were supposed to lose to the best army and the largest and most professional navy in the world.
But our young army had won the war and our freedom. The freedom we hold so dear. And 250 years later, what started as a ragtag group of shoplifters has now become the most powerful army in the world.
Today, many things are very different from that army here at York. But one thing remains the same. An undying passion, guts, and love for our country remains deep in the heart of today's army. When I look into their faces, you can see it. That will never change. God bless the United States Army, and God bless the United States of America.
Ladies and gentlemen, our parade is officially underway. Up first, internationally renowned as one of the world's finest professional music organizations, the United States Army, our nation's most senior service, stationed at Joint Base Myer-Henderson Hall, Virginia. They were founded back in 1922 by Army Chief of Staff John J. Pershing. They were led today by Colonel Bruce R. Culver and Drum Major Rob Moore. Today, Pershing Zone is playing a melody entitled The Army Goes Rolling Along. This was actually written in 1908 by the then Lieutenant Edmund Louis Snitz Kruger, which was a descendant of Franz Kruger, who composed Silent Night. It was originally written to be the 5th Artillery Regimental song titled The Caissons Go Rolling Along, and in 1956 the lyrics were revised by Harold Arberg as the official song of the U.S. Army, and then retitled The Army Goes Rolling Along. Pershing Zone carries on its century-old legacy, playing a march that brings pride to every soldier, the Army Song. The 3rd Infantry Regiment is the oldest active duty unit in the U.S. Army. Established back in 1784, the unit was dubbed the Old Guard by Major General Winfield Scott during a victory parade in Mexico City after the Mexican War. It is the U.S. Army's official ceremonial regiment, the Old Guard. In 1775, the shot heard round the world at Lexington and Concord sparked a revolution, uniting 13 colonies and forging a continental army from farmers and frontiersmen. Against the odds, they turned the tide at Trenton and Saratoga, survived Valley Forge, and at Yorktown forced a British surrender, securing independence and giving birth to the United States of America. and field phones, sound was the signal. In the Continental Army, fifes and drums carried commands across the chaos of battle, telling soldiers when to advance, when to retreat, even when to rest. That legacy actually lives on today with the U.S. Army Fife and Drum Corps, part of the 3rd Infantry Regiment known as the Old Guard. Founded back in 1960, they're the only unit of their kind in the armed forces. Performing in uniforms patterned after those worn by General Washington's musicians. Playing period instruments with patriotic precision, they bring history to life, sharing the sound and spirit of the Revolution through more than 500 performances each year, both at home and around the world too. The Old Guard, Fife and Drum Corps, everybody! And now, from high above, ladies and gentlemen, celebrating 250 years, your United States Army parachute team, the Golden Knights. Descending at over 120 miles an hour, the Golden Knights I'll tell you, they can't hear you, but they sure can see you. You can give them a great big wave, ladies and gentlemen, the Golden Knights, the finest parachuting team in the world. Their role and their readiness. The Army's identity and function across the force. Soldiers were issued 2 coats. One, a short sack coat for work at battle. Well, by war is based out of Fort Carson, Colorado. First team forged its reputation on the front lines of history. They stormed the Special thanks to our sponsor, Lockheed Martin. In 1914, years of escalating competition between European alliances culminated with the outbreak of the First World War. The 2 sides engaged in a savage war in which the states initially maintained its neutrality, but was eventually drawn into the conflict in 1917. Despite having less than 130,000 soldiers at the beginning, the Army eventually grew to over 4 million, with nearly 2 million soldiers serving in Europe. In 6 months of fighting, nearly 50,000 Americans lost their lives, with another 190,000 wounded. The guns fell silent with the armistice of November 3,251 miles and 62 grueling days across the Lincoln Highway. Now remember, no pavement, no GPS, and no power steering. Just grit, determination, and the drive to push Army mobility into the future. This car literally helped pave the way for the roads we rely on today, and reminds us when the Army moves, the nation follows. The 1918 Dodge Touring Car. A variety of musical genres. Though their mission is Iraqi freedom, the band reached support during COVID-19 and recently support for New York State Corrections. Commanded by Chief First Class Gaz, the band is performing Over There, written in 1917 by Broadway composer and recipient of the nation during this time. When the Americans entered the Great War, our soldiers under the command of General Black Incidentally, the 42nd Infantry Division was deployed to heavy combat abroad and then deployed again in World War II, ultimately liberated the Dachau concentration camp. The 42nd responded to the terrorist attacks on 9/11. Later, thundering into view, the pride of Fort Sill, the U.S. Army Artillery Half Section. This is literally powered by horsepower and heritage. This elite ceremonial unit honors the legacy of the Army's horse-drawn artillery. With precision, discipline, and 6 majestic horses pulling a vintage 1918 caisson, the half section keeps tradition alive and rolling strong, representing the power, pride, and precision of America's field artillery. This is Fort Sill's finest, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's go, Screaming Eagles! We don't need to be, we go
World War II,
all
a
the
global
time.
fight for freedom. In history's darkest hour, the United States Army is on the front lines, from the beaches of Normandy to the islands of the Pacific. The greatest generation faced down tyranny and from bombers to fighters to transports, U.S. Army aircraft started to thunder across the skies of World War II. And take a look up there, ladies and gentlemen. Flying overhead right now. They are fast, they are fierce, and famously used in the Doolittle raid over Tokyo. Leading up front, the mighty B-25 Mitchell. Charge the legendary quarter-ton 4x4 Command Recon vehicle, the Jeep. You might have a Jeep in your driveway, but not like this. The first mass-produced four-wheel drive vehicle. The Army used the Jeep for almost every military activity. Scout cars, fast, From Fort Bragg, North Carolina, this is the 82nd Airborne Ceremonial Band. The 82nd received the nickname All-Americans after a contest as it represented the diverse origins of its members from every state. This name remains today symbolized by their iconic double-A patch. Fort Bragg's finest, ladies and gentlemen. Give a big round of applause, the 82nd Airborne Ceremonial Band. In a global fight like Paris, they needed innovation. Uniforms evolved for every environment, but olive drab remained the mark of the Americans. The M1 helmet, tough, stable, built to protect under fire, and the M1 Garand rifle, powerful and fast, it gave American troops a very clear edge. General George S. Patton called the M1 rifle the greatest battle implement ever designed, and history proved it right. The 82nd Airborne Division unit is best known for their bravery on D-Day, when 12,000 parachute and glider troops destroyed German supply lines after The 101st Airborne Division, based out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky, traces its lineage back to 1918, when it first established as the 101st Division, known for their ability to rapidly deploy across the world. D-Day to leading helicopter assaults in Vietnam, the 101st redefined modern warfare. In the 50s, the Screaming Eagles stood tall at home, protecting the Little Rock Nine, participated extensively in the war on terrorism in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Screaming Eagles continue to lead the way as tomorrow's division in today's Army. The iconic Sherman tank is here, ladies and gentlemen. It was the cornerstone of the U.S. Armed Forces, showing its military might in World War II. It became one of the most influential tank designs of the 20th century. The M4 tank was nicknamed the Sherman tank after Civil War General William Tecumseh Sherman. Actually, it was named by the British. With almost 50,000 produced during World War II. In World War II, the M6 was the backbone of the Red Ball Express that kept the Allies supplied after D-Day in World War II. Tactical truck or MUD, most servicemen generally refer to it as a Jeep. The vehicle spanned more than 40 years and 4 manufacturers and were everywhere that the Army was built. Of the U.S. Army for decades, particularly during the Vietnam War and Operation Iraqi Freedom. Producing had its value moving cargo, supplies, and soldiers. Its capabilities include up to 5,000 pounds off-road and 10,000 pounds on-road, making it ideal for moving just about anywhere. In the jungles of Vietnam, the U.S. Army faced a new kind of war. Helicopters became the new workhorses of battle, delivering troops, firepower, and supplies into some of the most unforgiving terrain on Earth. This is the U.S. Army in Vietnam, the era of air mobility, fierce firefights, and unwavering brotherhood. And over the music marching through these legendary Army helicopters, nicknamed the Snake, run serious firepower. Its sleek design, as you can see here, can survive and thrive in hostile environments and protect soldiers and the icon of the era. The UH-1 will be the first turbine-powered helicopter to service the U.S. Symbols in the sky. Division Band, based out of Fort Cavazos National Cavalry, has supported operations for the Civil War Division. Over time, it's evolved into a powerful force using music to strengthen bonds between soldiers and the band continues its mission using music to shape perceptions, foster trust, and promote national army and division interests. Standing ready to serve, it remains an enduring symbol. The band performs Hitting the Leather and Ride on march composed by Captain Robert Meredith Wilson. This piece reflects the cavalry's transition from horses to mechanized warfare, capturing the speed, the resilience, and the tradition of the division. From Fort Cavazos, Texas, everybody, the 1st Cavalry Division Band. These things began withdrawing these forces to July 1969. The last one combat in the U.S. South, the last U.S. combat soldier came by in March of 1973. Almost small number of non-combat was done many years until 1975. Representing living up to his motto, no mission too difficult, no sacrifice too great. The first infantry division was originated in liberated Nazi Pennsylvania. The highly decorated unit has had 37 members of the Brigade Red Banner Order, the Medal of Honor in Washington, D.C., the first official monument. More military building stuff. During Operation Desert Storm, the F-2 fighting vehicle proved its value on the battlefield. It is fast, it is tough, and it is the Bradley was built to carry troops into combat with protection and power. Armed with a 25mm chain-driven cannon and twin-tube launch optically tagged wire-guided missiles, it played a critical role in clearing the way during the ground. Like a tank, it is technically a self-propelled howitzer that was first introduced back in the 1960s.
They literally can keep coming.
That one, and they have a big drop of helicopter. That's a big idea. We dropped the Humvee and their artillery. Old Irish sites, yeah. The top is the division and the bottom is the brigade.
In the Gulf War, no division hit harder, faster than the First Army. Old Ironsides really led the way. During Desert Storm, they engaged in some of the largest tank battles in Army history. That were distributed supporting divisions in 20 countries across 5 continents. In World War II today, Old Ironside remains battle-proven and always ready.
Yeah, this is soldier trail artillery.
First used in Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm, the M119 howitzer brought precision firepower.
The top and the bottom are like this. So the bottom is the combination.
The fight is finished.
You see those handles on the top of the hood? Yeah. We grab them from there. Strikers have shields.
inventories with a lighter infantry and heavy armored unit. The Stryker armored combat vehicle enables the team to recruit and close. First Stryker Brigade combat team deployed. And by boat, with the likes of Daniel Boone and Abraham Lincoln in their ranks. After the 9/11 terrorist attacks, Rangers were called upon to lead the way in the global war on terrorism. As part of the U.S. based out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, represents a lethal, agile, and flexible force capable of conducting many complex joint special operations missions. Today's Rangers Regiment is the Army's premier direct action, mentally and physically tough, and prepared to fight our country's adversaries. The U.S. Army Special Operations Command is an elite group of individuals trained to lead and succeed as Army's Special Forces. The United States, inside the United States, divisions flying the glory lines of the U.S. military and receive specialized training for fighting in mountainous conditions. After periods spent in active and repeated deployments to Afghanistan and Iraq. Now, since 2002, the 10th Mountain Division, based out of Fort Bragg, New York, has been the most deployed regular Army unit. It's to show America's military might. They have one purpose to do true war. They are the 10th investments in force. The tools they need to protect the country and fight terrorism. Part of the Army's three branches. Is continuously transforming the Army's organizations to take transportation for the U.S. Army a very vital program. Spread across the parade today, numerous fighting vehicles, some designed for very specific functions and others of vehicles made from like titanium. They are 7,000 pounds lighter than the M777 is currently being used in Ukraine. 1991. As you can see, continuous combat action ever since activation of World War I. From Europe to the ocean, the 7th Division, originally called the Army. The American soldier, the cornerstone of everything the Army does, we are continuously transforming. Army careers span the spectrum from attorneys to astronauts and mechanics to engineers. The Army battle, the portable howitzers and the portable Abrams tank allows commanders greater freedom.
They're like they're armored.
But flag witness a powerful demonstration of strength, purpose, and the unmatched capability.
They can do this after this. When I was born, my dad was still serving, and him coming home in his uniform, I wouldn't do that.
Our motivation, I think it follows a lot of things
Years. It really shows how much working with a team can strengthen you.
drive a lot of purpose in serving others. I think serving something bigger than myself.
We get the call, we have to go somewhere, we'll do what needs to be done. That's just the way we operate here.
Guy at the bottom of the hole.
I love you.
To execute and on order decisively defeat any adversary in extreme cold weather, large-scale combats. Established in November of 1942, the Angels of the 11th Airborne Division led the way in the Philippines during World War II, and the division operated as the 11th Air Assault Division, initially testing and refining the Army's helicopter-centric air defense. Activated once again in January 2022, they were
We'll figure it out. I mean, are we going back to the hotel?
air recovery operations on vehicles that serve the Army with a variety of mission critical
On the border, how it's like going to rival.
Multi-Purpose Company's 2nd Battalion, 327th Infantry Regiment, 1st Mobile Brigade, 101st Airborne Division, Bastogne. They are showcasing the Army's Transformation in Contact Initiative, a program that allows the Army Department to test, evaluate, and equip our soldiers for future rank. This winter, the together, they offer a real These dogs reduce resistance at 1 speed of 2 miles per hour and are working towards 6.7 miles per hour sprint. Oldest continuously serving Army band and the oldest unit at West Point. This is the United States Military Academy Band, ladies and gentlemen. West Point Band traces its history to a sound drummer and fighter appointed by George Washington during the American Revolution. Over the next 2 centuries, this band evolved into one of the most capable and versatile performing groups in the world. U.S. Presidents Brandon Eisenhower and numerous generals, including John J. Pershing, Douglas MacArthur, and the United States Army, all recruits undergo initial entry training. Each year, the Army